So, hi everyone. Today I'm just talking about 5 common ways that Nigerians lose their children to social services. So, the easiest way that we have found that Nigerians lose their children to social services. Idea to talk about this video came about a few days ago, and I've always just assumed that people should know all these basic things, but I found that those things that I kind of assumed that people know, they really don't know. And I was talking to a children's social worker a few days ago, and she sent me an article. And I thought it's worth mentioning, for people who are already here, or people who are thinking to come and live in UK. I know the determinant factors are quite the same across Western countries. So I'm talking about Nigeria because I am from Nigeria. Yeah. So number one is disciplinary practices. In Nigeria, the way we were brought up in those days, where we were beaten for every little thing, I know those kind of practices are quickly fading out of Nigerian system as well. But here, they are a no-no. So if you think you will beat your child, oh, when they do something, you will beat them, you beat them. It's not acceptable in these Western countries. You cannot beat your children. Even in Nigeria, by now, people should stop beating children. There are so many other ways that children can be corrected. I know that some people will disagree with me, but it's fine. If you are coming to live abroad, you need to stop those practices. And even if you are not coming to live abroad, abuse of any kind, physical or any other kind, is not acceptable in any way, form, or shape. You must not beat your child with any object. You must make sure that you avoid this kind of disciplinary action. I can give you a tip. What I do with my own children is I put them on timeout. That's the little ones. Timeout, even in some cases, they frown at it. But what I mean by timeout or maybe naughty corner is just to put her to sit in a particular place for 2 minutes and then just talk to her about what she's done that I'm not happy about. And sometimes that doesn't work, if I'm going to be honest. Then I have to move to the level two, which is take away her screen time. What do I mean by screen time? She watches a tablet, her favorite shows for a couple of hours a day. And those couple of hours mean a lot to her because she really, really loves it. So I just take away what she loves. And she knows that she's going to lose her screen time, so she will behave. And then the older ones, you know how teenagers are with phones. So if you take away their phones, you have conquered them. In my own case, with some children, but my own children, and I think most children fall within that category. So instead of beating them, just take away what they love. Take away their phones. Take it away for a while. They will, they will grumble, they will moan, they will do everything. So just let them know this is the reason why you have made that decision, and then they will adjust. So the second one I'm going to be talking about is neglect due to financial or work pressure. When you neglect your children, they will present as children that are being neglected at school. And I'll be giving you real life examples as I'm talking. So this one, I give you a particular one where the children, female children, went to school and they were sitting in an uncomfortable position because they've not been having proper personal care. I'm sure you know what I mean. And the teacher noticed that every time they are sitting down, they're always wiggling like this and they're not sitting down comfortably. And they realized that these children are not even properly showered in the morning. They are not properly cleaned. They are having infection after infection. And they picked that up at school. And guess what? That became safeguarding. So if you are too busy, what was the mother doing? The mother was busy running after night shift and day shift. So if your children present as being neglected, they will raise safeguarding. And if you get social workers involved in your family, to get them off is not always easy. In fact, you would have wished that you didn't even let them get involved in the first place. So anything that you will do that would present you as neglecting your family, that will present you as not being present in the lives of your children. When your children are going to school in the morning, they need to present like they've been cared for. They need to look well fed. Children who present as being underweight is another red flag. Children who present as being underweight will be flagged up as safeguarding. Definitely, definitely. If I was a children's social worker and I found that at school, I would be flagging that up as well. So make sure that your children present as healthy as possible here. So the next one is poor understanding of UK parenting laws. Parenting laws in UK, the way I'll put down, I'll just interpret that as cultural differences. The way things that we deem as okay within our own culture is not okay within this culture here. For example, I was giving an example one of my previous videos where, in those days when you look at an adult when you look at them in the eye, they term that as being disrespectful, you know. And I know people have given a lot of comments about that in the comment section, and I agree with most of the comments. Because in those days, if you look at when your parents are talking to you, and when you look at them in the eye, they tell you you are disrespectful, that you are not being respectful. But nowadays, the children are beginning to look at their parents in the eye gradually, and some Nigerian people will still frown at that. But when you come abroad here, children will look at you. They want the eye contact, and that kind of determines the confidence of the child, that the child is confident. That's why they can look at you and express themselves. So those little things like that, if you start to shout at the child and you start to make them afraid and they start to feel timid, they will, you know, discuss that to their teachers at school. The teachers will pick up these little things straight away. And then in safeguarding, most of the safeguarding concerns that are flagged up, most of them are from the school. So during our last live session, a particular lady, one of our guest speakers, mentioned that she had only just raised her voice at her child. Whereas, we Nigerians, we shout a lot. When the children want to kill us, we shout and say, "Don't kill me." Yeah, so she shouted at the child regarding the remote control that she said she lost. And the child, guess what, went to school. And she said, "When you come back, you see what I'll do to you." And when the child got to school, told that to the teacher, safeguarding got flagged up straight away. So the kind of languages that we use, our culture oftentimes we say things that we don't mean. If you do this one, I will break your head. You say I will break your head. You are just saying that you will break that child's head. Our culture, we know that we say those kind of things. You say, so if I give you slap, that kind of thing. If I give you slap, you're saying if I give you slap, but you're not actually going to give that child the slap. But abroad children don't understand those kind of, when you say something, they will take those things word for word, the way you have said it, that you said you are going to give them slap. It means you are going to physically slap them. But we don't really mean those things when we say, "I will break your head." I'll break your head means you are going to smash their skull open. And they will look at you like, "What? What did you just say? You're going to..." But you are just saying that you are laughing because you are just telling them, in other words, it just means get away from me. Just leave me alone, or listen to what I'm telling you. But these children in this abroad, they will take it word for word the way you have said it. So you must not use those kind of languages. And those are the parenting laws. Those are those cultural differences that one needs to be mindful of when you are here. The fourth one I will put down is the parents that leave their children unattended. That one is a big one. Leaving your children unattended because you want to quickly go and cover one shift here or one shift there. There are so many cases under this one. So many cases. There was one particular one that was actually a serious case. I think it was last year. The lady got sentenced last year. She's a Nigerian nurse who came, I think, on COS she came with pregnancy. And from the story I read, apparently she didn't want to lose the opportunity. So she came with pregnancy without telling the employer. But when she came, they still supported her, and she had a baby, but she was struggling to look after the baby. She was a single mom. So what did she do? She was giving the baby to somebody to look after. But on this particular day, she just left the baby because the baby was sleeping. She was going to cover 8-hour shift, 10 weeks old baby. And you leave a baby for 10 hours and you are a nurse and you don't know that there's something called low glucose level that could happen to that child. Anything can happen to a baby. You leave a baby in one spot. By the time you come back, the baby, you go and find the baby, the way they wriggle and the way they... And unfortunately, she lost that baby. She lost the baby and she was even attempting to flee the country. So at the end of the day, what did she come here for? What is her gain? She's in prison now. What is her gain by coming here and taking such risk? Don't let greed push you to leave your children. Another one, this one is the baby I used to look after in London. There's this particular woman who used to bring, a single mother, she used to bring her baby to me. All of a sudden, I just stopped seeing her. Obviously, in London, people will just come there and they'll be looking after other people's babies and they'll be getting, small payment from it. So sometimes she'll bring her in the daytime if she's doing day shift. Sometimes she'll bring her night time if she's doing night shift. All of a sudden, I just stopped seeing her for like a period of like a year. I didn't see her. Then the next thing I saw her again when the child was about 3 years old. She brought the child again. I said, where have you been all this while? She said, social services took my child for the past year. I said, what? I didn't even hear. What did she do? She went to do night shift and locked a 2-year-old child in the house overnight. And she said that was the only time she done it, but I know it's a lie. It's a lie because if that was the only time she must have been doing it and getting away with it. Because I remember this lady, she loved to work. She was working, she would work 7 days out of 7 days. So this particular night, she left that child. The child sleeps all through the night. But this particular night, the child didn't sleep and was crying so much that the neighbors, everybody woke up and like, which child is this one crying nonstop? And they called the police. When the police got there and they knocked, no answer, they broke down the door and found a 2-year-old child on her own. So they took the child, social services, they left a note for her by the time she came back, and that was where her predicament, that was where her issue started. And she was back to back to back to back with them for a whole year, fighting the custody of the child back. You know, she's lucky that she got the child back. Maybe in that under that local authority, maybe they have too many children that they've taken. That's why she probably got hers back in 1 year. Sometimes you don't even get them back that quickly. So I would say she's one of the lucky ones who got, because the stress. At the end of the day, that shift you want to go and do, you will not be able to do it. You won't be able to do it. So make sure that you don't get that greedy. Then the last one I will put on this list is domestic conflict. This one is another big one. You see, these last two I mentioned, they are the biggest. Domestic conflict and family breakdown, fight in the home, quarrel, all this, you know, you people are fighting all the time in the presence of the children. The children will be withdrawn. The children will be sad all the time. They will present at school as children that are withdrawn. They will, children don't know how to hide their feelings. They don't know how to hide it. When they get to school, they will present that way. They will be sad when they get to school. And the teachers will pick that up straight away and raise the safeguarding. So those are the 5 common ways. If you know that you have issues from Nigeria, settle your issues before you come here. Husband and wife ought to have a plan. If you are not agreeing from when you come from Nigeria, you will not, there's very high likelihood that you will not agree when you get here. I've seen marriages that are already rocky from Nigeria. When they get here, they destroy the whole thing, scatter to the point that the wife will be chasing the husband out of the house. And unfortunately, I say it that way because we all know that these systems empower women more than the men. So if you have been showing the woman and you have been fighting each other from Nigeria, the tendency that you end up on the streets is very high. And it's not easy for one person to raise kids. Let me just add that as a tip at the end of this video. It's not easy. If you think, oh, when you come here, I will show this man, I will kick him out. Only me will be doing this one because of the benefit. It doesn't end well because the benefit is rubbish money. It doesn't make anybody rich. Why is way social workers do good things? We prevent harm from coming to people and all that. When it comes to children's services, you also don't want them involved in your home. Most of the time when children social workers, when they get involved, it's because there's trouble. And I'm telling you, it's not always fun. It's not always fun. When they are there, the police will be there. So, and then some people don't know that those things stay on their record forever. All those things, all those fights, all those this thing. Once a social worker has been involved in your child's life, it stays on their record. So at any point they will say, has a social worker been involved with this child? You notice that if you go to the hospital, they will ask you, it's one of the questions, has a social worker been involved with this child? So if you tick yes, then they will refer to social worker again to check if everything is okay before they will give you your child sometimes, or before they will give you certain interventions. So you don't want to be in that situation where social workers will be getting involved in your matter. So thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Phoebe, see. Phoebe, look at you. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.